Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, Derek, and I have what's probably going to be the most exciting recomp-based video you're going to see in the month of July. That is because I am testing a work-in-progress recomp of a Kirby game on Wii, as well as talking about Super Smash Bros. Melee getting a recomp as well. And just so you know, we're talking about the very early days of this actual process, and this is an internal testing build that was sent to me by the developer Hyperway. But this is something you're going to be experiencing soon when all the wrinkles get ironed out of it, and you're going to see a lot more GameCube and Wii recomps coming soon. That is not what you're watching here. This is just some dolphin footage to get you into the video so I can explain what you're going to be seeing, because it actually is quite complicated even if I'm going to water it down to its base components. But there is a new tool out now from the same people that were working on the actual PowerPC portion of GameCube and Wii recompilation that we talked about last month. ExpansionPak is a group that is basically trying to make the Wii and the GameCube 100% able to be recompiled over to PC, and now with a new tool, DolRecomp, which is basically recompiling all of the video and audio for the game as well as the I/O. You're getting 100% full static recomps with no emulation underneath whatsoever, and that is going to be absolutely 10 out of 10, maybe even 69 out of 10 outstanding, because there are so many decomps, recomps, and PC ports in the works, and obviously we want GameCube and Wii to be included in them, because honestly, especially on the GameCube side of things, some of the best games Nintendo ever made in my opinion, and being able to play them as static recomps with new quality of life features would be a fun time. Now, taking a look at a capture from one of the members of the Discord on YouTube, I will leave a link in the description below, and we will get into my footage in just a moment. This is where I first found about it because somebody actually sent me this link from the Discord server, kind of to talk about the fact that this was coming, and I captured this footage maybe about an hour and a half before actually doing this voiceover. But what you're seeing here is a real-time static recompilation of the entirety of a Wii game running on Windows in this instance, and you can definitely run it on Linux as well because the build I was given was Linux exclusive, so I went ahead and used my Steam machine that I just ran a review on this morning, so it's definitely a big Steam machine sort of day. But just think about how many amazing recomps you can get, the first one being Kirby's Return to Dreamland. But I'm telling you right now, this is very early, it is very hard to set up, and I only got like halfway through before even I stumbled into a little bit of an issue. You get a basic launcher, you give it the disk image, you can set the internal ring resolution. I went 1920 by 1080, and it uses the same system of Dolphin, but it is not emulation again to hook in the controls. But because this build was based around the Steam Deck and I'm on a machine, I think I was having a little bit of a pathing issue when it actually came to binding those controls. But this is going to be updating regularly, and by the time you get a hold of it and you're able to play it, I really don't think that's going to be an issue or situation whatsoever. It should just have some sort of configuration for the controls in the actual application in and of itself. But what you're looking at right now is my direct capture from my Steam machine on SteamOS and desktop mode of Kirby's Return to Dreamland running as a full Wii static recompilation. So this is basically going to be a first, and if you know full well, N64 static recomps and every other system that had them, all had to get one game started before everything else kind of fell into place. And with this entire tool system, with all of the static recompilation tools on GitHub available, including DolRecomp, you now have a tool suite that's going to allow for a lot more of this stuff. But if you haven't noticed yet, I haven't actually hit the press 2 button, and that's because I could not again get any controls to bind to this whatsoever. And in the launcher, it shows you the pathing for all of the different configurations that would be on a Steam Deck. But of course, I am on a Steam machine, and that is a delineation where you're basically going to have to deal with it in the background. I'm just waiting for the next update where maybe I can bind the controls. But I've seen demos of this, and again, it is not done. Some people are having slight screen hitching every once in a while, but this is basically day zero stuff, and the fact that it's running this well in and of itself is absolutely impressive and just shows how well these tools are being developed and how important they're going to be in the future. And before you ask, because somebody is, DolRecomp as well as the rest of the tools that we've talked about for this project are made by humans, and that is stated as such on the GitHub repo. So if you're concerned about that, you don't really have anything to worry about on this one in particular. And that is going to be exciting because, again, we're going to live in a world in which you're going to be able to statically recompile basically every GameCube or Wii game out there. Of course, it does take human input. Let's go over to a soundtrack sample, 45 seconds or so, and I'll be right back with a lot more news on this very exciting topic. I mean, that definitely sounds like the game should, and this is using DolRecomp, ModernGekko, and a bunch of other tools that ExpansionPak have built. So I did leave a link in the description below to their GitHub page, because honestly, there's so many different components going into these things. It is really fun to kind of read through them yourself, but I will show you them in just a moment, some of the different tools that are actually being worked on by this group. And this is, again, the foundational work that's going to lead in the next couple of years of getting tons and tons of GameCube and Wii static recompilations to play. We're basically at the advent day one, basically seeing where the roadmap is going to go into the future, and you know full well with basically every other platform that's getting these static recomps, the future is going to look very bright in a year where modern gaming is definitely looking very dim and pretty much unfair for most people. So if you take a look here, ModernGekko, the repo right now, basically to do is here to actually write the entire readme. That is how early some of these tools are, and Sir Smallington there, one of the people I chat with online about these recomps, is one of the contributors. And of course you also have DolRecomp, and that's going to lead into the Luigi's Mansion recomp that is being worked on, and I'll show you a little bit of test footage from one of the members' YouTube channels in just a moment. But this is going to be a very big deal, and don't get me wrong, Dolphin emulation is incredible, and I still think it's going to be one of the best ways to play these games, but options are always good, and don't forget static recomps allow for a lot easier modding potential than having to actually go into the disk image and start picking it apart and producing mods for it. But I mean, don't get me wrong, we have some incredible mods on both the GameCube and Wii side of things, maybe my favorite being Super Mario Eclipse or Super Mario Sunburn, but this is going to make it even easier in the future, because once you actually have the ability to deal with a static recomp and add in a modding system so people can go in and make it easier, you're just going to get more of a good thing, and you're going to get it faster, because a lot of these tools just reduce down the barrier of actually having to deal with a lot of stuff. It's the same way when I talk about making these videos. I have DaVinci Resolve as my nonlinear editing platform, and if I had to make a new tool every time I made a video, you'd never see anything. And if you had to make the tool set every single time you wanted to play something like a static recomp, that would be a much slower process as well. So moving into Luigi's Mansion footage here, and again, I will leave links to all the YouTube video sources in the description below. Go over and give every single one of those people a subscription and a comment in one of the videos saying VGE sent me, because I always want to see more people grow. Now this is still very early, but this is something that ExpansionPak is working on as well, a Luigi's Mansion static recomp, and honestly, one of my favorite GameCube games of all time, and I am stoked to see something like that. No, it's not running full speed, no, the graphics aren't perfect yet, but it is still in progress, and I'm sure maybe in the next couple months you will see more updates on that either here or somewhere else, because I'm going to be following this project very closely, because you know me, you know I love these static recomps, you know I love video game preservation, and that's a lot of what this is. Let's talk about both a Super Smash Bros. Melee static recomp as well as a Super Mario Sunshine static recomp, because I would take both any day of the week, and twice on Sunday. Wouldn't kick either one of them out of the bed, but I feel like if you had to pick, you'd probably go with Melee being the recomp you'd like to see first. This is footage from my capture of Dolph when I was talking about the decomp, but I'll go into Mr. Polo's footage on YouTube, which I will link in the description below soon. But there's even footage on Twitter of Super Mario Sunshine as a static recomp, and again, you're going to see a lot of these projects in development at the same time now, because the tool set is there, and even if it is still in development, it is getting quite robust. And even though every single recomp is going to take its own time in development, I feel like by fall, maybe you'll be playing 1 to 2, maybe even 3 static recomps of GameCube and Wii games. But here's a soundtrack sample of Melee as a recomp, and I'll be right back with more. So soon you're going to be living in a future where you can play static recomps of GameCube and Wii games, and I will leave a link to Mr. Polo's channel down below so you can see the entire terminal launching the actual recompilation. Kind of entertaining to me, but I know most people don't really care all about that stuff. But this is definitely exciting. There's been so many amazing static recomps as well as source ports based upon decompilation project, and you're just going to be getting more and more and more of them because everything is just speeding up. We have PlayStation 1 recomps, we have N64 recomps, Xbox 360 recomps, and GameCube and Wii recomps are going to be joining the party, and it's the same exact thing for PlayStation 2 and 3 as well. I feel like by this time next year, basically every single mainline console is going to have these tool sets developed and being robust enough for you to actually be able to sit down and enjoy a lot of them, and that is definitely a future we all want to live in, and it's going to be a reality very shortly. But that's kind of the situation right now. Once I get Kirby running a little bit better, maybe once it updates and doesn't have all that pathing issue based upon deck and that build where I don't actually have my Steam Deck available to me right now. It is buried deep in the closet in a box from our move from one house to the other that we completed in January. I still need to take that thing out and get it all set up. It's going to be very exciting, and it's definitely something I'm going to continue to cover. But you can leave me a comment down below if you could snap your fingers right now and make one GameCube or Wii game show up as a perfect static recompilation. Which one would it be? And honestly, I expect it to be Melee from start to finish. But I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.